In this video, I will teach you 3 powerful laws that have stood the test of time. Laws that helped people in moments that completely changed their lives. The first law will show you how to stop people from ignoring you and how to become 10 times more important than everyone around you. Then, I'll give you 2 more laws, each one capable of shifting your mindset and changing the way you see the world. And with every new law you learn, a new door will open, filled with knowledge, power, and value you didn't have before. For example, one of these laws will reveal how even if you're a great person, your greatness alone could lead you to a tragic downfall if you don't understand how to control it. But remember, these laws are like a sword. You can use them to harm others or use them to protect yourself. You decide how to use the sword. So I hope you choose wisely. The first rule: always learn how to captivate the eyes. There's a rule that says impressing people steals their hearts. That means you have to create a special aura around yourself, a unique vibe that grabs everyone's attention and forces them to acknowledge your presence. Because when people are impressed by you, it blinds them from truly seeing how you move. And personally, let me tell you, capturing people's attention is the currency of the world. Let's go back to the early 1780s. At that time, news started spreading in Berlin about a strange new treatment used by a doctor named Zeldar. What he did was convert an old alcohol factory into a hospital. Every day, long lines of blind people, the elderly, and patients with illnesses that normal medicine couldn't cure stood outside his clinic. And when rumors started to spread that this doctor was healing people by exposing them to moonlight, people began calling him the Moon Doctor. In 1783, news spread that the doctor had cured a woman of an incurable disease. And from that moment, his fame skyrocketed. Before that, only poor people used to line up at his door. But now, as the sun began to set, people in fancy, expensive clothes would show up. Some of them only had very mild symptoms, but they came out of curiosity. Everyone stood in line waiting for their turn. At the time, poor people would explain to the rich that the doctor only saw patients when the moon was full. They told them that he used the moon's light to heal people. Even the ones who were already cured kept coming back to ensure they didn't miss out on the experience. People from all backgrounds and social classes gathered. Moonlight would shine in through high windows and strange angles. The doctor and his wife worked upstairs, and you could only reach that floor by a staircase at the back of the hall. As patients climbed the stairs, they would hear cries of joy and praise coming from above. Someone would tell them, "The doctor just helped a blind man see again." When they reached the second floor, they would be split into 2 groups, one to the left for the doctor and one to the right for his wife. After waiting in line, the wealthy finally got to meet the doctor. He would take the patient, expose the affected part of their body, place it under the moonlight, and begin massaging it while murmuring strange, unclear words. Then he'd look up at the moon like an expert, as if he truly understood what he was doing. And after that, he would dismiss the patient after taking his fee. Listen, my friend, Dr. Zeldar probably wasn't even a real doctor. He knew nothing about medicine or healing. But the truth is, he deeply understood human psychology. He knew that people don't always need proof or evidence. Many times, people just want something to believe in, something that touches their emotions and moves them. And if you give them that, they'll take care of the rest for you. They'll even believe you can heal them with moonlight. The doctor didn't need to explain much or bring machines to help him. He knew very well. The simpler it looks, the more impressive it feels. In short, people are deeply affected by surface appearances. Now stay with me, because we're moving on to the second law, which will teach you never to show your new ideas or genius too soon, because doing so could lead to your downfall. Make sure you stay with me until the end of the video. There are 4 powerful keys, and each one will leave you shocked by the truths they reveal. The second law: believe in what you want, but act in a way that others expect. This law tells you that if you start acting or speaking in a way that's too different from the people around you, if you promote strange or unfamiliar ideas, you'll make them feel like you're looking down on them or that you think you're better than they are. And when people feel that, they'll start looking for ways to bring you down. Let me tell you a true story about this. But first, remember, it's always smarter to blend in and show respect for local traditions. Keep your genius and new ideas to yourself, or only share them with people very close to you. Now, back in 487 BC, the city of Sparta sent a military expedition to Persia. It was led by the Spartan prince Pausanias, whose mission was to reclaim islands and coastal cities that the Persians had taken over. At the time, everyone admired Pausanias. He was known for his courage in battle and his boldness as a leader, and he moved quickly. He took control of Sicily, then seized the Hellespont, and even took over Byzantium, modern-day Istanbul. But something strange started happening after he became the ruler of certain Persian territories. He began behaving like a Persian king. He threw massive, extravagant banquets, stopped meeting with his friends, and started secretly communicating with Xerxes, the Persian emperor. In short, he adopted the lifestyle of the Persian tyrants. At first, the Spartans tolerated it, but soon Pausanias started openly mocking the simple way of life of the Greeks, and that's when things turned. His soldiers felt insulted, and rumors began spreading that he wanted to crown himself as the king of Persia. To prevent a rebellion, the Spartans removed him from his command and forced him to return home. But a few months later, Pausanias hired a private ship and went back to Byzantium. He convinced some friends that he was going to resume the war against the Persians, but in reality, he was trying to negotiate with Xerxes, hoping to become king of all the Greek cities. When the Spartans found out, they accused him of treason and sent ships to arrest him. He surrendered voluntarily, believing he could escape the consequences. After all, he was a nobleman, and it worked. He managed to get away with it, at least the first time. But then he made a huge mistake, one he couldn't escape. He thought he was above the law. He hired someone to carry a secret letter to Xerxes, but the messenger betrayed him and delivered the letter to the Spartan authorities. When Pausanias realized he'd been exposed, he fled and hid in a temple, refusing to come out. And since the authorities didn't want to drag him out by force from a sacred place, they simply blocked the entrance and waited. Eventually, he died of hunger and thirst. Here's what you need to understand. Pausanias got attached to a culture that wasn't his own. He hated the discipline and simplicity of the Greeks, and when he saw the luxury and pleasure of the Persian elite, he wanted to live like them. He started imitating them, but the moment people saw him admiring something outside his culture, they felt like he was rejecting them, and that made them see him as a traitor. So remember this, my friend, you can think differently, you can dream big, you can pursue your vision, but make your transformation something private, something personal. Now let's move on to Law 3, which will show you how to use the emotions of your enemies, and even those who hate you, to control them. And don't forget, we still have 4 powerful keys to unlock. The final 2 will shock you with truths that might just change how you see the world. The third rule: stir the still water, so the fish fall into your net. This rule explains that anger and emotional reactions are among the most critical strategic mistakes that can lead to loss. That's why you must always remain composed and calm. But what you should do is make your enemy lose control of his nerves while you remain calm and dignified. This will give you a major advantage over your enemies. In short, confront your enemy with whatever threatens his pride until he loses his temper. That's when you'll be able to control him, like a toy in your hands. Let's go back to the year 1809 when Napoleon rushed back to Paris, afraid and angry. But the question is, why? At the time, he had received information that both his foreign minister and police minister were plotting to remove him from the throne. Leaking this information was one of the smartest, if not the smartest, moves ever made. Once Napoleon arrived, he immediately requested an urgent ministerial meeting at his palace. When the ministers gathered, Napoleon entered the room anxiously, pacing back and forth and muttering about a conspiracy against him and about his ministers working against him. During this entire moment, Talleyrand, his foreign minister, was leaning calmly against the fireplace, as if nothing was happening at all. Napoleon approached him and started addressing him directly. He said, "The betrayal of the ministers began the moment they allowed themselves to question their leader." Napoleon expected his minister to tremble when he heard the word betrayal, because betrayal meant execution. But surprisingly, Talleyrand did nothing. He simply smiled as if confident and even appeared bored. That calmness triggered Napoleon's rage. He shouted at him, "You're a despicable man without principles or morals. You have no loyalty or integrity. Nothing would stop you from betraying your father. I gave you wealth and privileges that others only dream of, yet you didn't hesitate to do whatever it takes to hurt me." The other ministers were shocked by what they saw. They had never seen Napoleon, the man who defeated most of Europe, this nervous and out of control. Napoleon continued, "You deserve to be destroyed, and if I had the power, I would. You're nothing but garbage and expensive clothes." Talleyrand calmly and steadily responded, as if nothing concerned him. "The truth is, sir, I don't see anything in this conversation that adds to your Majesty's dignity, or mine." After Napoleon insulted him further, he stormed out of the room. Talleyrand followed slowly, putting on his coat. The other ministers assumed it was impossible that they'd ever see him alive again. But before leaving, Talleyrand told them, "It's a shame that such a great man has such poor manners." In the end, Napoleon didn't arrest him. He simply removed him from his position, thinking that the humiliation was enough punishment. But word spread, and people heard what had happened. Crowds began to change their view of Napoleon completely. That's when Talleyrand said, "This is the beginning of the end," and he was talking about Napoleon. Earlier, I told you that the leak of information by the two ministers was incredibly clever. That's because they made up the conspiracy themselves and passed the news to Napoleon just to stir the still waters and make him act stupidly. And that's exactly what happened. In the following years, things remained very bad until Napoleon's rule completely collapsed at the Battle of Waterloo, 6 years later. Hey my friend, I want to play a simple game. You need to collect 4 keys. I'm going to give them to you in the next few minutes, so stay focused, because if you lose any key, believe me, someone else will find it, and you'll have given them the chance to become more aware than you. The first key, don't be a greedy whale and don't deal with them. Greedy whales are people who don't see any human side. They deal with coldness and cruelty. They only see spending and return percentages in their dealings, and they treat people as mere tools. If you're one of them, everyone will leave you, and your isolation will destroy you. The second key, don't be a slave to bargaining, and don't deal with one. People of power judge things by their price, but price doesn't only mean money. It also means peace of mind, dignity, and the prestige you'll gain. And you won't be able to get that if you're a slave to bargaining, always looking for the cheapest price. The third key, don't be a sadist and don't deal with them. Sadists deal with money in a nasty way just to show you their filth. For example, you might find a sadist stalling to return money you lent him. Or if you work for one, you'll find him interfering with everything you do and making you feel extremely stressed. They think that when they buy something from someone, they have the right to torture them. So if you deal with them, think of losing some of your money to get rid of their games and filth. The fourth key, don't be generous without calculation. Now, generosity has specific roles you need to know in the world of power. One of them is attracting people to you, making them love you, and being allies too. But money must be used strategically, and you shouldn't spend unless it's for a purpose that will benefit you, because some people spend just because they need people's love. But the idea is, if you give to everyone without calculation, what benefit will you get back? Nothing. On the contrary, people will get bored with you, and that will harm you. Now you've opened the box. And actually, the keys are the treasure itself. By knowing these 4 keys, you'll have already advanced ahead of 90% of people in the world of power. Listen to me carefully, my friend. Let me make it simple for you. People will never fully accept you. Got that? No matter your name, background, age, gender, or skin color, people will always find something to judge. So the question is, why should you care? Let me save you some time. Stop trying to please people. It's not worth it. And hey, if you made it this far, thank you. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss the next videos.